Hello, 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 and welcome back to the GTD Podcast. I'm the Norks, I speak for the podcast, and we are here once again to... What the hell? Cable that's attached to my mic is all messed up. That's weird. Ignore that. We are here once again to discuss things in the industry of the gaming one, because that's what we do, apparently.
And possibly world
news.
News.
I don't know why I worded it like that. I don't know why I worded it
But
that way.
hello,
But
I'm also here.
yes, I'm here with
the person.
Is he? Is he here? Am I here?
Well, I mean, technically, you're still here.
I guess technically.
Yeah. Obviously. But yes, we are here with Bean and Matthew.
Yes.
Yep.
Or Devin, as he's more commonly referred to as.
Well, Bean, Devin.
They're very different names, but yes.
Yeah, you know, they are very different names. They're not even the same number of letters.
Well, one off.
Yeah, but you can't spell
have
that.
N.
What?
They both have N's. At the end. Thus, they're the same name.
No, that's not how that works. Anyways, but yes, we're here once again. We've might as well just hop right into things. Whew, that was weird. We have several things coming. My mouth's really dry for some reason.
Hopefully, I'm not blinding anyone with the left of my screen.
Oh, don't worry, it'll be fine. Yes, we have several things coming in the show. We'll be discussing what we have been doing this week. And hey, I actually played a game, so I can talk about something. So that's worth noting. Then we'll be moving on to trailers. We have 2 trailers today. One for Young Souls, and also we'll be taking a look at the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I will say some portion of our news is being taken up by talking about the Pokemon Presents, which includes the new Pokemon game. I am also aware that we are a week out from this being a relevant thing to talk about, but it's not my fault that the Presents happened literally the day after we recorded the last episode. So
yeah, it just means we have to record a podcast episode every single day.
Exactly.
Old news there. It's a week old. It's already old news.
I mean, as far as the internet's concerned, that is old news. You get about 3 days of...
Yeah, as far as the internet's concerned,
you get about 3 days of boosted traffic for people searching about it, and then it just goes away. That's how the internet works. That's why every week they're on a new controversy. Because they just don't care to talk about it for more than a week. Anyways, but yes, we'll be talking about the Pokemon Presents, even though we are a week out for it. Then we'll be moving on to host topics and the news, which, like I said, Pokemon Presents also taking a look at some things Phil Spencer has said about the console wars, and also Activision continuing their downfall as a company before their inevitable buyout by Microsoft, and their just general stupidity. So, you know, general stupidity and lack not inability to take responsibility for their stupid actions. And then shameless self-promotion in the show. So without further ado, let's get right into things. Matthew, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I've worked on the game a little bit, and
Uh-huh.
Oh, I actually played some Minecraft.
Wow.
Yeah, we recorded some stuff I'm gonna edit. Because I learned this thing about my editing software called the delete button snaps everything together.
Okay.
I'd never considered using the delete button to delete things in an editing software.
Hmm.
Don't question me.
All right then.
Anyway, and so I think I'm actually gonna start doing more editing type things
All right.
because I think I can actually do some of it. For certain things. Some things might be too painful because like very tinny audio on one thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, we played a bit of Spellbound Caves. That video is going to be edited.
We did, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we died and have to restart.
No, Devin died
Unfortunately, I
3
died.
times. No, twice.
Mhm.
Yeah, 3 times, 4 times.
No,
right?
yeah, 3 times.
A
But
lot of
the
times.
last one, it was more of a passive rule in my head that I thought we were assuming that we would only do things if both of us were recording.
Uh-huh.
Apparently Devin didn't see it that way at first. And so he went in somewhere, started recording without mentioning it, and immediately died. So we didn't count that because I'm like, no, unless we're both recording, it does not count.
Right.
We have content, okay? I'll leave it in the video.
Content farming.
I'll leave it in the video and
Probably
explain
still
why
gonna die though.
it doesn't count because come on.
Mhm.
Come on, man.
Right.
That's just stupid. Beyond it.
Mhm.
So yeah, that happened. I didn't die at all. For some reason, my computer's internal server lagged a huge amount all of a sudden. I think I need to adjust my computer. And get rid of some stuff on it.
That is
I'm not
always a possibility. I don't know how much space you have left.
I still have 294 gigabytes.
Mm,
I'm not that bad on the storage front.
I mean, you are, unless those recording files are being kept somewhere else, you are currently holding quite a lot of gigabytes in uncompressed video footage on your computer.
That is true. That is
So,
very true.
you know.
What does that do?
Well, it takes up storage space, and I'd imagine, if at least to some degree, it might slow down your computer, depending. I don't know.
I'm gonna clear out a bunch of the old recordings I have that I'm not gonna use for anything.
Right.
But either way, additionally, Dungeons and Dragons happened.
Mm-hmm.
The
Did it? I was unaware that
plot
something
line
like that could
still
happen.
technically flowing fine.
What?
With what happened on Monday.
Right.
Just yeah. Unexpected as usual with that game.
All right.
So all the PCs are still alive.
Right.
That's the important thing.
It is
They're
important.
still trying to kill each other. That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that matters is that the players are still trying to, the characters are still trying to kill each other.
Yes.
Oh, and then in the other D&D game, and then in the D&D game that I'm playing in, nothing bad is happening at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being sarcastic.
Right.
Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. And in regards to role-playing games, because this is another gaming related thing I can talk about.
All right.
That's stuff I've actually been working on. I think over this week. I think I worked on it this last week.
Well, I'm glad you're sure.
Either way, it was a short amount of time. Words. A bit words.
Ignore my face exploding in red.
Here, let me screen share just to gloss over it real quick. I'm not gonna go into like
What?
detail
No, don't do that.
or not. All right. I will just explain. So I've been
Yeah,
working
he
on different
decided he
tables.
wanted to make
Basically,
his
how I've been going
own
about it.
tabletop system, so.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I'm sick of 5e. I was like, you know what? I'm done with 5e for the most part. If I'm introducing someone to D&D, to role-playing games, I might use 5e, but generally I don't want to use 5e. So instead of like learning Pathfinder or Advanced, because these books are very confusing. They're fascinating to read, but actually understanding them is the difficult part. It's like it's character class refers to the profession of the player character. No, this is not a good section. That's confusing. That's actually understandable.
Yeah.
This is
what's
very
the-
confusing.
Yeah,
Read
I know.
something.
I can find one. I can find one.
Combat is always confusing. It's like, wait,
No, I have one.
I have 3 actions to do. Wait, what's this free action? Oh, well, the free action is like speaking and stuff. Oh, okay, so can I use it to do
So-
things? What about the
No.
bonus action? Oh, you can use that to do things, but only if you have an ability that lets you do stuff with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, here. This is the Meteor Swarm spell. If you know the 5th edition one, it's very simple. You do 20d6 damage. It's a dex save that destroys stuff. I mean, 40d6 damage. 20d6 of fire and 20 of bludgeoning. And then there are 4 fireballs that fall down from the sky. They can't hurt the same target multiple times for some bizarre reason. I don't understand that. What wizard would put that as a thing in their spell? Why? Is there no flavor in this? No, clearly there's no in-world
I
reason.
don't know.
It's just a video game reason. It's like, well, we can't have it too powerful because 160d6 damage is too strong. I mean, you're not wrong, but I mean, anyone who's caught in it is dead.
You're muted.
If you allow it. What?
Yeah, Devin's muted.
And so this is the AD&D Meteor Swarm. If anyone can actually say back to me, without replaying this part, what I said, and explain to me what it actually all is properly.
And I'm excited for this. This is sure to be very interesting for the audience.
So Meteor Swarm, evocation, level 9, it's mostly because of just how many things they put into this. If you're rereading the stuff, it could make sense, but, you know. Level 9, components vocal somatic, range of 4 inches plus 1 inch per level, because it was more of a war game, so they like actually mapped it out. Casting time 9 segments. Area of effect special. Saving throw 1/2. Explanation / description. A Meteor Swarm is a very powerful and spectacular spell, which is similar to a fireball in many aspects. When it is cast, either 4 spheres of 2 feet diameter or 8 spheres of 1 foot diameter spring from the outstretched hand of the magic user and streak in a straight line up to the distance demanded by the spellcaster, up to the maximum range. Any creature in the straight line path of these missiles will receive the full effect of the missile or missiles without benefit of a saving throw. The meteor.
Are you reading 5th edition or
missile.
AD&D?
This is AD&D. The meteor missiles leave a fiery trail of sparks, and each bursts as a fireball. The large spheres each do 10 to 40 hit points of damage. The 4 bursting, I read that wrong. The 4 bursting in a diamond or box pattern Each has a 3-inch diameter area of effect, and each sphere will be 2 inches apart along the side of the pattern.
How much longer is this
So
going to go?
there are overlapping areas of effect, not much, and the center will be exposed to all 4 blasts. The 8 small spheres have 1/2 the diameter, 1.5 inch, 1.5 an inch, and 1/2 the damage potential, 5 through 20. They burst in a pattern of a box with a diamond or vice versa. Each of the outer sides 2 inches long, and the inner sides being 1 inch long. Note that the center will have 4 areas of overlapping effect, and there are numerous peripheral areas which have 2 overlapping areas of effect. A saving throw, which for each area of effect will indicate whether full hit points of damage or half the indicated amount of damage will be sustained by creatures within each area, except as already stated with regard to the missiles impacting.
Uh-huh.
Now, what did I just read?
I don't care.
Exactly. It's really confusing.
I should have given the disclaimer before it to just skip ahead a couple minutes. But I'm sorry if you listened to all of that. I'm sorry we wasted your time, and I wish I could go back in time and tell you to skip over it.
Well, you can just edit in a part where you say skip over it.
That's too much effort.
No, put in the effort, Aaron. Do it. If you just put in the effort to do things, then you'll get into the video gaming sphere, making it, and you'll just put in the effort to make it. And you'll go, I'm going to do this, and just sit down and do this. Figure it out and break stuff.
Figure out and break stuff.
I'm just going to make something.
That was certainly interesting. Was there any point to that?
To explain how confusing AD&D was, I'm gonna try to, if I write something that confusing, I'm gonna have a bunch of illustrations to go along with it that actually show what I'm talking about. I'm gonna try to explain everything so that it's actually understandable, because wow, is that confusing.
I mean, it's not confusing if you know the lingo of the system.
Well, yeah, if you also read it slower.
You know.
I'm just meaning reading it as the base spell without thinking too far in it. It's like, also, if you have like 8 million or some XP in your 29th level AD&D spellcaster, you have 6 9th level spell slots.
And that's quite a few.
You can cast the wish spell 6 times, but it also takes like 8 million XP points. So.
Right. I mean, the whole point of older versions, well, not the whole point, but the thing with older editions of D&D is that your characters didn't last super long. So if they managed to survive until 20th level, they earned what they got.
Yeah. Also, this is the dumb thing about AD&D XP. This is the really dumb thing. It goes something like this. 2,751 to 5,501. Do you notice something with that? It's basically doubling.
Yes.
The XP in this older edition basically just doubled every number. Which makes the later XP really hard to attain.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And it's like, okay. Well, yeah, and Rangers started out with 2d8 hit dice at level 1.
Were they even a proper class back then?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I think they were.
They had a purpose.
Yeah, they each had, it was a subclass of fighter. I think, wait, was it?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, Rangers were they start at first level. Yeah, Rangers are a subclass of fighter who are adept at woodcraft, tracking, etc. And you have to have a if you have a 5 at every stat in AD&D, you couldn't actually play any character class.
Yeah, I know.
It would have been really funny. It would be really funny to play a character like that. You have a D4 hit points. You physically can't be a class. You're a level 1 nothing.
Yeah.
You level up 2,500 doubled for every level. Or you just follow the fighter level XP chart. You don't get any abilities. You don't have anything. You're just nothing. You're just lame.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be funny. Horribly sad, but funny. Oh yeah, and I played a little D&D game with Devin last night.
Oh, did
I will
you?
let Devin describe that if he wants. Because he probably can detail.
Well, we played D&D. We played classic actual D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Good old actual classic D&D. It was a lot of fun.
Not 5th edition.
Yes. We did
No,
a bunch of
fifth edition.
mechanics. I had to use my brain.
We played as a person
What?
with sword. We
Bastard
played as a
from
guy with
there.
a sword.
Bastard.
Yeah. Makes sense.
This is a bastard baron. Yeah, we plotted out the story, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, I had some big plans, but it
I
was,
jumped on an undead.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He was supposed to die.
Sounds like
multiple times.
Oh
but he
yeah, and I only
died.
took 10 damage throughout the whole thing somehow.
It sounds like every single one of my characters.
You know what's fun though? Guess how many hit points he had?
11.
5. I was close.
I was at 1 hit point by the end of it because Devin rolled 1, 1, 1, 1, 5.
He fought like 7 enemies. It's like, hi, I'm a first level character. I'm gonna just take on like a bunch of enemies.
I'm gonna take
Makes
down
sense.
2
I'm lucky.
super spirits and vampire demons.
Yeah, a bunch of ancient 2nd level, 4th level monks. Main character.
That's
power.
very
I mean, you didn't have to
dangerous.
start-
Single hit? No. The 2 NPCs that helped me were very helpful. I decided to help one of them survive because Devin let me roll a saving throw and I rolled well.
I see.
Basically, they were fighting in an area where if you got slammed against the wall, you took a whole bunch of damage.
So we
Oh.
knocked some of the enemies into the walls.
Mhm.
Yeah, we
I don't
started
think
knocking
we
enemies
them
into the
otherwise.
walls. And then one of the enemies decided to try to knock his ally into the wall. And Matthew I watched as his ally was going to disintegrate. But then he was like, wait, saving throw. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't give him a saving throw. And then I gave him a saving throw and he succeeded the saving
I
throw.
rolled. I rolled like
Obviously.
18. And then I decided to bash the giant stone golem type thing into the wall and got some
Mhm.
magic help. But I succeeded.
You did.
Yeah. Magical, ain't it?
I like old D&D because you had to use your brain.
Instead of just say that's a spell, right? I should be able
Yeah,
to
you used your brain a
counterspell.
lot. Like,
In 5e, it's like, oh, is that a spell? I should be able to counterspell. Is that's a spell, right?
Yeah.
It should be able to counterspell. It's an ability. I have a save against that.
Yeah.
Does
Or
anybody
I'm
have
gonna-
a thing to counter that?
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna use second wind and then I'm gonna use action search and I'm gonna attack it.
yeah, I'm just gonna unpack my use my abilities to do things. Also, the characters in 5e have such high hit points
Mhm.
where it's just like the fights. If you're gonna fight some skilled enemies, you're gonna
And you can't send them up against more than like equal to the party and enemies.
yeah.
Yeah,
They'll just murder the party because of action economy.
Mhm.
And if you send too few enemies against them, the party's gonna murder them.
Yep.
Because of action economy.
Yeah.
Unless you way overbalance it so that they're way overpowered compared to them. It's so
Mhm.
annoying.
It is. We've talked about this.
I
many
need to
times.
play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Aaron, I need to play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, what do you want me to do about that?
What?
What do you want me to do about that?
We need to get Talon and you over to our house.
All right, I guess that's where that sentence ends.
And then we need to play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
All right, well, I mean,
And
It's a
Devin
thing.
needs to Dungeon Master because I say it.
what? What did you just say?
And I said, and Devin needs to dungeon master because I say so.
Because he says so, obviously. All right.
Time
Well,
to
is
pick
that
one.
all you've done this week?
Yeah.
All right then. Sounds
all.
fantastic.
Yeah. So what's Devin done this week?
Video stuff. My sleeping schedule's been destroyed, and video stuff.
I didn't think your sleeping schedule existed.
Oh, I mean, here's the thing. Actually, it's not so bad because I actually have had a sleeping schedule. It's just been upside down. So I've been getting to bed and waking up at the right time, and I haven't been tired.
Right, you're nocturnal, I forget.
I'm nocturnalized, yes.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what else have I done.
Sleep like a bat. Nothing. Yeah, just sleep like
What else
a
have
bat.
I
Sleep.
done? Matthew? What have I done this week?
You played Spellbound Caves.
Spellbound Caves. Have I done anything that I did though?
It sounds like all you did was sleep and record.
Well, no. We went places. We had like stuff that we've done. I haven't had like a ton of free time.
I see.
Yeah.
All right then. And Matthew already sort of mentioned the two other
You've
things.
played way too much Magic the Gathering. And bought another 500 cards for some reason. They're all the same card too. I don't know why he needs 500 of it either. Perfect.
Okay, I'm gonna simplify this. So there is a card that is way too cheap for its price. And the reason you know this is because in US it's 1 penny. You can get them, or you can get a bunch of them for a penny. In euros, it's 70 cents. It's 0.07 of a euro, which means it's almost a euro, which is a lot. So
Yes.
the price difference between US and euros is, I mean, not euros and euros, but like the price versus supply and stuff, because there's so much higher of a supply of that card in the US versus in Europe land.
In Europe land,
where they use the Europe blow, where they use the euro.
Yes.
Yeah, so like it's just it's so weird to look at these cards and be like, wow, the price is super different. And I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Once the supply dries up, that card's going to go up in value because people who play casual are going to start realizing how powerful it is. Either that, or people, some at some point, someone's going to realize how powerful it is. Because right now it's so cheap because there's just a massive supply, and in a few years it might even be a 50-cent card. And so if I buy a whole bunch of it now, this could actually be a good investment, like a solidly good investment, not just like a half decent.
Definitely.
No, I'm serious. Some of these investments that I do are not that good. Some of them are actually pretty good, and this is one of the ones I consider to actually be pretty good.
Right.
So there, take that.
Take that with your non-investments.
You know, buying 2,000 with the same card doesn't seem like a good investment to me, by the way, Devin.
It's a great investment strategy, Matthew.
Great
2,000 same card. That card has
investment.
not gone up in value, but it's okay. It's only been a few weeks.
It's only been a few weeks. Just give it another couple years.
I'm serious. Yeah, if you give it a couple years, it'll go up.
Yes, I'm not
Probably.
saying you're. I'm not going to, say you're wrong per se. However, I will say that is the same mindset everybody who
As for Bitcoin?
uses, who inevitably fails when it.
Oh,
It's like
it's
like Beanie Babies. It's like Beanie Babies were like worth thousands of dollars, and then like people stopped caring about Beanie Babies because it was a fad.
My reasoning is that it's basically it's a $5 investment. I'm not putting that much money in. I'm putting $5.
I mean, you're right. It isn't that much money, but also, I mean, like, I'm not saying you're going to lose anything from it. And now you have 500 of the same card that you can do whatever the fuck you want with.
Yeah.
But
So
like, I'm just saying, when you invest in something as volatile as, that kind of market, it is, it's just asking for something to go wrong.
Oh, sure.
That's all I'm
You
saying.
can destroy card prices very easily.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, what have you been doing this week?
What have I been doing this week? Well, I can tell you what I haven't been doing this week, which is
Anything?
not
Good.
much actually.
You haven't been doing not much, so you've been doing a
Yes,
lot.
exactly. That was the joke.
I
Thank
get
you.
it.
Thank
I
you.
got the joke.
Hooray! Yes, I have actually been doing stuff this week.
Nice.
Specifically speaking. So I
You've been
suppose
doing drugs this week. Sorry.
let's see. Was that last week? I watched Arcane. I'll start with that. I'll start from the
Wait.
beginning of the week. I watched.
Oh, you watched the beginning.
Well, yes, you know I did. We watched
You
it
watched the
together.
rest of it?
No,
You
I
didn't
haven't.
watch it. Thank goodness. Okay.
No, I watched the first 4 episodes of Arcane. I think it was 4 episodes. Yes, which is a series that people have been blabbering on about for ages, including you, Mr. Devon Man.
Yes.
And yes, I did quite enjoy it. The first 3 episodes being basically a self-contained movie prologue to the actual major story is very interesting, and it is good. I like the animation style actually quite a bit. Something I did notice about it that I will quickly say before I move on is that I enjoy how it's a very interesting mixture of both 2D and 3D animation. Like obviously most of the character models and a lot of the stuff is like 3D, but like there's so much stuff that is 2D or like 2D hand drawn.
Yep.
Like a lot of the effects, like smoke, backgrounds, like horizon, stuff like that. A lot of effects are 2D animation, even though most of the character models and some of the set pieces are 3D. Which I think is very interesting. It reminds me of like something the Harley Quinn show did, except like way worse. In the Harley Quinn show, they basically it was an animated series, but for some reason they used like these weird like live action effects for things. Like when if something was exploded or was on or a smoke cloud, it had like these weird cheap looking, like more realistic live action looking effects, and it just looked really weird contrasted with the animation. Obviously, Arcane didn't do that. It did something much better and actually fits the style quite nicely, but it did remind me of that.
Oh yeah.
Also, I just want to bring up, this is more of a question for you, I guess, but am I supposed to like the council?
I think you're supposed to think the council is a governing body.
Well, the thing is, because when it clicked, it dawned on me when I was thinking about it. I was like, am I supposed to like I don't really like the council.
Yeah, you're not. I don't think you're supposed to like them. I don't think you're supposed to dislike them, but I don't think you're supposed to like them.
Yeah, but like it was more of like a joke thing.
Yeah, they're like Game of Thrones.
Yes, I do.
The way they do the politics in this really reminds me of Game of Thrones, where it's like, yeah, these guys are all powerful people, and they're not. If you actually look at them like just objectively, they're all jerks.
Yeah, because most like the main one that we've been introduced to, the I don't remember her name, but like she basically risks the entire city on a whim just because she's bored. In the prologue, she risks the entire city and everybody else just because she's bored and wants something exciting to happen, which is why Hextech becomes a thing. And then she's just like, nah, I'm just bored. Do things that are dangerous to excite me. And then you have
she's got a little bit more motivation than that. She actually does end up being a little bit more like once you find out about a little bit more stuff, you'll start understanding her a little bit more.
Yeah. Also, the thing that struck me is that they're like, it's this board of people and they act more like businessmen than politicians.
Because they are.
Yeah, I know that, but that's the thing, right?
The world is ruled by powerful wizards. The rest of the world is ruled by powerful wizards. This is the most egalitarian, democratic place you can have, and it's full of rich people being in charge because that's better than overpowered wizards being in charge.
I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I don't really like the council that much.
Good.
Just because of their weirdness. But that's I'll say about that. Yes, I did watch that. Quite enjoyed it. What did we do anything else? I botched making fried food because I'm an idiot, but that isn't worth going into detail about. Other than that, I did end up playing a game of a kind. Wow, that's new, exciting freshness from me, the man who doesn't play video games but complains that other people doesn't play video games.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's not like it's a game I haven't played before. It was Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance I played through, but like,
you played it through, okay?
Yeah, I blasted through that game in 5 hours. I beat the entire game in 5 hours. Literally blasted through it. But yeah, so it's not like I hadn't played it before, but I wanted to play it again because I like the game a lot and wanted to re-experience it. Also, just because like I'd been thinking about it recently, just because I'd seen some other people recently play it and complain about certain things that don't make sense for them to complain about, like the camera or just the slicing mechanic or certain other things. Like, I get it's a little wonky in game, but like it really comes down to just the person I'm talking about just not having the patience to care about the mechanic. It's like the reason you're failing is because you don't have the patience to learn this thing. And I get it. I get why that's the case, but not having the patience to just go at this in a specific way
doesn't make a bad mechanic.
Yeah, it's like I get the mechanic is a little wonky. Like the freeform slicing with the left stick, the right stick is a little weird, but like I don't know, it just feels like a weird complaint to have when it feels very obvious that you're the one that is at fault in this regard. Also with like some of the bosses that they were playing through, like I don't know, it just had a lot of weird complaints that ultimately culminated in my mind of just saying, like, you're just not good at this. And you're being angry because you're just not good at this. I'm sorry. Yes, I blasted through the game in 5 hours, which is actually a achievement, interestingly enough. There is an achievement of the game specifically for getting through the game in under a certain amount of time, which is not new for the MGS series, cool. Metal Gear Solid series. So that was cool. I'm also planning on playing through the game more because I have the itch, and now I want to 100% complete it.
So what you're saying is you beat the game with a world record time.
Not a world record time, just under 5 hours. Okay. I didn't beat the game in a world record time. I can guarantee you there are people that have beaten that game in like less than an hour.
Wow.
But yeah, now I have the itch for the game, so I want to 100% complete it, which requires me to get a bunch of stuff. It requires me to collect everything, which is not the worst thing. It's not a terribly long game, as you can tell from me blasting through it in 5 hours. But yeah, the other thing I will say about it is that I even though I have played the game before, I decided to get some of the DLC, and I realized that both of the DLCs were completely free for download. I don't know how long that's been the case, or if it's just a new thing, but if you own the game on PS3 or possibly any system, like both of the Jetstream Sam and Blade Wolf DLCs are completely free to download currently, which is interesting. So I did actually play through a portion of the game that I had never touched before, which is the Jetstream Sam DLC, which was an interesting change of pace because his gameplay is much different from Raiden's. It's much like slower. Well, it's not exactly slower, but it's more methodical because he has his whole like attacks are based on like holding down the button to charge up your moves and then release them to do different things. So I had to think about what I was doing a lot more. than when I was playing as Raiden. So, which isn't a bad thing. It was just like, I had just come off of blasting the game in 5 hours with a super hard robot ninja that can pick up fucking buildings. So playing through the game as just like a normal guy who's really good with a sword was interesting, because it just required me to think about my actions a lot more. Because otherwise I would die. And yeah, the DLC was pretty fun. It was a little frustrating. Mostly the things that were frustrating me were the fact that it was more methodical. The combat was more methodical, which was, I got it near the end, but it was a little frustrating at first. The other thing that frustrated me were 2 of the VR missions that were placed inside of the game. So in the Jetstream Sam DLC, it's like one long continuous mission, and there are VR missions placed throughout that give you health upgrades if you beat them, but you have to get at least an A rank on the VR mission in order to get the health upgrade, which is something I realized after I hadn't gotten a health upgrade on a few of them. The thing that frustrated me about the VR mission, specifically 2 of the VR missions, is because the first one wasn't necessarily unfair, but it was on like a tiny platform that you could just fall off of for some reason, and I don't know why. At no other point in the entire game is there a thing that you can just fall off of and lose. Usually if you're in a fight, there are walls that force you to stay in the fighting zone. But in this particular case, bad guys could just knock you off this tiny platform and it would instantly make you lose the mission. So I wasn't dying and losing the mission. I was just being knocked off a platform from like a couple hits. It was really annoying. So I didn't like that very much. It was very annoying. I did end up beating it, but I did not get a very high score on it just because I was trying to rush through and do it. Stupid ideas. The other one that was slightly frustrating was this like, there was this VR mission at the end of the game that was literally like at least 3 minutes long. It was really long, and it threw like every enemy in the game at you in like increasing waves. It was ridiculous. And so, that wasn't necessarily unfair, but it was a little frustrating to get through just because I wasn't expecting that, and I was just like, God damn it, stop this. Stop sending me up against these things, please. When is this going to end? Kind of thing to it. But that's just a personal thing. Obviously, I don't have anything against the game for that. If I had gone into it knowing that, I probably would have done better. But but yeah, that's that. And I'm planning on playing the Blade Wolf DLC, whenever I do that, and then completing 100% of the game after that. Yeah. Really like Metal Gear Rising: Vengeance. I've said this a couple times, I think, before, but I do genuinely really like it as a game. It's very fun. The story is fucking a massive cornball of ridiculousness that I love every part of. All of the characters are incredibly hammy to the nth degree, and I love it. Also, for those of you who don't know, I just love the fact that there's a stupid, like, the villains have a stupid, like, Saturday morning cartoon villain name. It's like the group of villains is literally just called the Winds of Destruction, and each of them have a special name. Each of them are named after a specific type of wind. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, so these are Saturday morning cartoon villains that do they each have their own action figure to go along with them? It's just very fun. Also, the game unironically uses the term memes in several of its cutscenes. Because memes has a different meaning. What? Well, yes, because memes has a different meaning than the one the internet ascribes to it. Like, memes is basically just the concept of passing things on in a way. Like, it's the idea of if you're passing on a meme, you're passing on this idea. It's mematic, it's this thing that gets passed on to lots and lots of different people, which I guess memes do ascribe to, at least to some degree, but it's internet memes have basically kind of ruined what the original meaning had, to at least to some degree. Because now, if you I don't know, I'm probably complaining about that too much. It doesn't really matter, but it is interesting to watch a cutscene where gravelly voiced psychopaths just say the word memes at each other, which is very entertaining, and I will grant you that. Anyways, yeah, that's what I did. I played that. I also did I do anything else? I don't think so. Yeah, I played a game. Hooray for me! I also am vaguely working on something, but I don't need to go into detail about it. But yeah, and that's what I've been up to this week. So moving on, unless either of you have something else to discuss or talk about. All right, cool.
No.
No, Matthew says in absolute boredom.
Hey, I just don't have any idea what any of your game means. What about?
That's fine. All right, but we are now moving on to trailers. So, first trailer we have for you today is the trailer for Young Souls, the official release date trailer specifically. If my computer would load, there we go. Yes. Trailer for Young Souls. Get to okay. Young Souls is this sort of 2.5D co-op RPG beat 'em up type thing set in a fantasy world. Young Souls follows the twin. You play as two twins, and yeah, Young Souls follows the twins as they search for their guardian oppressor, who mysteriously vanished just before the twins discovered an inexplicable portal within his estate. The duo now spend their days roaming their quaint town, gaining advantages through gym sessions and buying fresh outfits ahead of their all-night fights to clear dungeons and brimming with foes. Yes. So yeah, Young Souls is. Well, what I said it was. I don't need to repeat myself. You heard what I said. But yeah, I really enjoy the art style of Young Souls. Also, the trailer explains like everything about the game in a voice, so I don't need to go over everything the person says, but like but yeah, the main basic concept, as I said before, is that you play as two twins who are trying to find their step parent who got lost in some kind of mysterious other world filled with goblins. And they're trying to find him, and that's basically the main plot as far as I can tell. And they do that by fighting the goblins to death, obviously, in a 2D 2.5D style beat 'em up. I mean, you could also call it hack and slash, I guess, which I guess makes sense in this regard, but it's more, I would argue it's more beat 'em up than hack and slash just because of its own style. Hack and slash usually refers to like more fast-paced, less methodical combat. Like Metal Gear Rising is a hack and slash just because you're literally hacking and slashing through your enemies at a very fast pace and not really taking much consideration to what you're doing. I would argue that beat 'em ups, you have to take more consideration into what you're doing just because it's usually more slow paced. But that's just me. Also, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's in the Discord, so you can look at it, blah, 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 blah. Anyways. But yeah, I really enjoy the art style. It sort of has this cartoony, almost cel-shaded look that mixes really well with the 3D environments and 2D models for like the characters and enemies. But I will say, even though they look 2D, but I'm almost certain that they are actually 3D models. Like, especially during some of the cut-in scenes, it really looks like the characters are 3D models, even though they look 2D. But yeah, I'm almost 100% sure that all of the 2D animated characters are 3D models. It really looks like that.
Cool.
But yeah, you could also, I guess, vaguely compare this to Dark Souls. As far as it having a dodge roll and a stamina meter, at least, which is apparently all that's required for it to be compared to Dark Souls. If you ask the general
compared, yes.
Well, you know what I mean.
I mean, it's easy to. If it has a dodge roll, then it's Dark Souls.
No, it's not. Dodge rolls have existed.
Dark Souls. If you ignore everything that makes Dark Souls, the dodge roll is the mechanic that Dark Souls made really good and did really well.
I mean, yes, that is. I will agree with you in that regard. But you know, it's just, yeah. I don't know. My train of thought left me. Yes, Young Souls. So yeah, there is. I guess one other way, like there's another way you could compare it to Dark Souls is there's parrying, guard breaks. You can parry with whatever weapons you have, with weapons or shields. There are guard breaks, and if you guard too much, your guard can break and leave you defenseless. So there is sort of a, general like there's a reason to parry beyond just like being fancy. But the general combat looks very clean. Like the movement looks clean, the animations look very nice. The combat looks very exciting and cool as well. I might as well just be. I'm just throwing up buzzwords at this point. I'm not even trying to describe it in any other fucking fashion aside from cool, exciting, interesting. God, I'm fucking useless.
Okay, Aaron. Most people who do reviews of stuff say exactly the same thing.
I know. It's just one of those things where you're saying things and you realize just how stupid they sound sometimes. It's just like, God, I'm just throwing out what it qualifies buzz terms. Yes.
Yep.
There's also bosses, but what game doesn't have bosses in this day and age? Yeah, it's the general thing for Young Souls. It looks very nice. Well, what do you two think?
Okay, sorry, distracting parents were talking to me.
Uh-huh. Well.
Distracting parent.
Parents are being distracting again.
Matthew, what do you think?
It looks fine.
Okay.
Like I looked at the trailer. It looks fine.
All right. What about you, Devin?
I have not looked at the trailer, but I presume that it's a very pretty game.
It's in the Discord.
Yes.
Whatever. Yes, it does look very
I've got
nice.
my 3 games that I want to play. That game that you showed last time, that other game, and then that other game. And then I'm done. I don't need to see any more games.
No more games for you. All right then. Young Souls looks very good. Coming out pretty soon, actually. It'll be coming out on, all the consoles and PC. So that's Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, March 10th. So only a couple days away. The game's also available on Stadia, which is a service I didn't even know still existed. I thought Google shut that down a while ago. Yeah. So that's a thing. But hey, if you, I don't know, are a person that doesn't own a console but has a computer, if you're a person that doesn't own a console but has a computer and for some reason wishes to spend money on a gaming service run by one of the biggest corporations in the world that is entirely streaming based. So you don't actually own anything on it. You just buy to basically rent it. And once the service goes down, all the games go down with it, including all the money you spent for it. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you enjoy being the one person that somehow got addicted to Stadia. Yeah,
Burn.
I mean, yeah, it's Google Stadia is just bad. But yes,
I got
like
ads for Stadia. I actually like the ads for Stadia. I don't think I think I wouldn't have played a Stadia, but the ads were pretty.
I mean, visually, they're also very stupid and pretentious. Well, not
okay.
pretentious, actually. They're just stupid.
Oh.
But yeah, coming out March 10th. So only a couple days away from its release if you want to pick it up, which all of you have the ability to do so. Moving on to our second trailer, which I'll also quickly dive into news for, because looking at the trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Before I talk about that, I want to quickly dive into Pokemon Presents, just because basically everything in the Pokemon Presents aside from this game is stuff I either don't care about or didn't play at all. And it's like, it doesn't really mean much to me. Like, there were a bunch of updates and special things for a variety of games such as Pokemon Go, Pokemon Unite, Master Trainers, like all games that are either smartphone released or things that I just didn't care about. Like Pokemon Go released before I had a thing to play it on, and I never really got the boat on it, nor did I find it interesting after I got a phone that could probably play it. Pokemon Master Trainers, another mobile game that I didn't have the ability to play when it first came out. Now that I probably do, well, I don't know, maybe. It's hard to tell with my phone sometimes. But again, it's another game that I didn't really have much interest in or care after the period of like hype around it died down. And then Pokemon Unite is another game that I've heard several things about, but just never really took the time or initiative to like look into it because I just didn't care that much about it. I do know what each of them are. Pokemon Go is obviously the AR Pokemon game. Pokemon Master Trainers is all about the trainers in the Pokemon universe and going up against them. They all like, all that cool stuff. And then Pokemon Unite is I believe it's God, what are they called? It's League of Legends, but Pokemon. I can't remember what that genre of game is called, but it's a
Dota?
What? MOBA, that's what it's called.
It's actually called MOBA? I don't know what MOBA is. I just know the word.
Yes, MOBA. I don't actually
Awesome.
know what MOBA stands for. I just know that it is what League of Legends and Dota is.
Mobile action game that looks like Dota. No.
I don't know. I never thought about what MOBA stands for, but it's what that Pokemon Unite is a MOBA. So it's, you have the lanes where you're going up and down, capturing points and trying to defeat the other team, but it's all Pokemon, so that's cool. But yeah, none of those games I really cared about. And then they announced the update for Pokemon Arceus Daybreak update, which added some new story stuff, new trainers to fight, new like Pokemon like events, like more wild beast Pokemon appear. What are they called? The red-eyed ones.
Pokemon?
Alpha?
Yeah, like more larger groups of alpha Pokemon now appear. So you can have a group of like 5 alpha Pokemon appear at once and all attack you, which is pretty scary, actually. Yes, the new update for Pokemon Arceus Daybreak, which is another thing. Obviously, I don't have Arceus, so I can't care about it. You have Arceus, Matthew, but you don't play it.
It is good though.
Yes.
Very windy over where I am.
But hey, your complaint got addressed. You thought there weren't enough trainer battles? They added more.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah, that's part of the thing with Pokemon Daybreak. They literally added more trainer battles that you could do with your Pokemon.
Wow.
But yeah, so that now that that's all been addressed, unless either of you have something to say about any of those things I just spieled about, we can finally move on to the thing that everybody actually cares about, which is Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. So let's get into the trailer, shall we? So we can move on. So Pokemon Violet and Scarlet is obviously the newest game in the Pokemon franchise. Gen 9, is it? I think. I believe this is Generation 9. We are officially back to color naming conventions.
Hey, I'm happy with this. I, for one, am quite happy with this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but we. I'm glad. Yes, we are officially back to color
I do not
naming
mind
conventions.
colors being the name of all the Pokemon.
What?
I do not mind colors being the names of the games.
Oh, I'm not saying that is a problem. I'm just saying we've officially gone full circle at this point. We started out with colors, then we went to elements. We started with colors, then we went to sort of like colors, but in like the metal category. So you had, blue, red, blue, green, yellow, then gold, silver, platinum, then ruby, sapphire, and emerald, then diamond and pearl and platinum, and then black and white, which I guess is more color conventions, black, white,
Yeah.
too.
We've had colors for a while, actually. That's kind of cool.
Then XYZ, then the sun and moon, ultra sun and moon, then
Sword, Shield, and Gun.
sword and shield, and finally we're back to colors again, which is Scarlet and Violet. Yeah. Anyways, that was a small tangent that didn't need to exist, but I just wanted to go through it just to.
Hey, Aaron,
I'm just very surprised that
Actually, this is interesting because if you think about it,
Yeah.
Pokemon Black and White returned to the color naming convention, and it basically reboot the series in a way, because it was a game that had an entirely new set of Pokemon. 150. What was it? 152 entirely brand new Pokemon, was it?
I thought it was 151.
151? I think it was.
I thought
It was one of those. I think. But yeah, Pokemon Black and White introduced 151 brand new Pokemon that were exclusive to the region, and it was kind of like a soft reboot on the franchise as a whole, just because of that.
Yeah.
And now we have another sort of soft reboot on the franchise as a whole with Violet and Scarlet because of the the trailer's kind of weird because it starts with live action footage of a police officer in a mall, a security guard, that's what they're called. Fuck me, I couldn't remember security guard.
A police officer in a mall cop. Wait, that's not what they're called.
Security guard wandering around the offices of Game Freak or in a mall, and then goes into the thing, and then cut to the game footage.
I'm surprised that they're announcing the next generation already.
Well, I mean, I suppose I am as well, but how long has it been since Sword and Shield?
It's just that they've already
4 years now?
Over the course of about 3 months.
Has it really been 4 years since Pokemon Sword and Shield came out?
No, that doesn't sound right. Sword and Shield. No, it's been 3 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually,
I was
like 2 years.
close. I was close because it came out in 2018, right?
No, 2019, November.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's still like, well, if you look at the release dates between, because if the reason
I get that it lines up, like release date wise, but it's just surprising because it's like, so they released the Diamond and Pearl, remakes, and then they release Legends Arceus, and then a month later they announce the new Pokemon games. Gen 9.
I mean, you're right. That is kind of crazy, but also like, if you look at the release window for the past Pokemon games,
Yeah, they're about 2
it's
years
like
apart.
literally starting with Sun and Moon. It was like there was literally a year apart from every game starting with Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon was
True.
2016, then Ultra Sun and Moon came out 2017. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came out in 2018. Sword and Shield 2019. The Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra DLC came out the following year. And then Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out the following year, along with, Legends Arceus this year and Scarlet and Violet coming late this year. So like, it is kind of crazy. With the exception of the DLC, it has been, this is the first time in a while that it has been a decently long period of time between new releases of Pokemon games.
Really?
Well, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were a remake.
True.
So they didn't have to spend as much time on it.
And
Scarlet and Violet are
doing.
Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet are brand new Pokemon games. So
Yeah.
it has this is the first time since Sun and Moon where there has been more than a 1 year gap in Pokemon content. At least as far as the main series is concerned.
Hey, and Scarlet and Violet actually look like they'll have at least decent graphics. Have you seen that Magnemite?
Yes, people on Twitter were losing their fucking shit over the Seviper with scales and the Magnemite with shininess on it.
I don't care about the Swiper. I like the Magnemite. Shiny metal, shiny.
Yeah, so the shiny metal Magnemite and the Seviper that actually has a scale texture on it.
Mm.
So, I mean, that is kind of a big jump, like Pokemon with actual textures on them.
Yeah, it went from none of that to all of that all at once.
So that is actually pretty impressive, I will say, at least as far as this is concerned. And the game itself looks fine. It's still, Pokemon has had a specific art style for a very long time, and that's still and this still falls in line with that.
Oh, and something on the website, if you looked on it, it says that it's going to be, I'm not totally sure what they mean by open world this time, but a seamless border open world.
Well, I did hear something about that as well. So Arceus will,
I'm curious about.
Well, it might be more similar to Monster. In this case, it might be more similar to Monster Hunter. So instead of picking areas to go to, it's seamless in the way that you have these large open maps that are separated by a loading screen. Well, you're not picking where to go. You're just going to the exit of the area and loading into the next area.
That could be the case. I think there was some wording on there. I don't remember that I'm checking.
All right.
What?
All right.
With no borders, seamless into the wilderness with no borders. That's the thing that I'm.
Yeah. Also,
very
this is
seamlessly into the wilderness with no borders. You'll be able to see the Pokemon in the sky from all over, including in towns, apparently.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
But which starter do you like the best?
I know what starter the internet likes the best. I wish I didn't know that, but I do know.
Yeah, but first say which one you like the best, and then I'll say the one I like the best, and then Devin can say the one he likes the best. Devin, you're muted.
All
Thank
right.
goodness, 'cause I said it very quickly. I said,
All right, Aaron, you first.
What starter do you like the most, Devin?
No. Internet. Say what one you think the internet likes the most.
No.
First,
Aaron,
the internet likes the
most,
Weed
and
Cat the
then
most,
say the one
which is
Dan
what their
likes.
nickname for it is.
The what?
What?
The nickname that the green cat has, which I don't know the name of, is the Weed Cat. So the internet likes the Weed Cat the most.
The cat is very cute. I like it. But also it's a cat, so it wins.
I don't understand, Matthew.
It's a cat.
You don't understand.
It's called Sprigato.
Yes. I'm partial to the Pompadour duck, personally.
I am also the duck. I also like the duck. I love the
Yeah,
duck. It's
I
not
do
a duck.
I do like the little dinosaur who's shaped like a hot pepper though.
No. Mm-mm. No, I don't like it.
Also, yeah, I'm part. I've never been one to have like I have some favorite Pokemons. I've said this before, like I have some favorite Pokemons, but that basically just came from like the anime, because like the anime made me more partial to certain Pokemon over other just because of like the anime giving more time and character to certain Pokemon over others.
Sure.
But I've never been incredibly partial to like have a massive opinion over one. Like I'm not one of those weirdos who plays Pokemon and was like, oh, it's Squirtle or nothing else, you know? Where I go into this, I'm not part of some kind of weird tribe that just likes one Pokemon over the other.
Well, no. Yeah. I have my
So
favorite.
I
starters.
like the designs of all three of the starters. They look nice and fit in with
Ooh.
Pokemon as far as everything else goes.
I agree with the one to the left and the one to the right, and not the middle one.
It's just Turtwig as if it's Turtwig if he was standing on his hind legs and was red.
And looked like a crocodile.
He looks like
Nothing
a hot
like
pepper.
Turtwig, Aaron.
He looks like
Don't
a
look at-
hot pepper.
He's the
looks like
fire
a-
croc Pokemon.
He looks like a red hot pepper, and it's amazing.
I don't disagree, but
But yes, the internet's favorite one is the kitty, the cat.
I also agree with the cat, but that's because it's a cat. It's a grass cat. It has a really cute design.
Yeah.
They just need to leave it cute for all of its evolutions.
I mean, that's probably going to happen.
You saw Lydon.
What, you don't like Wrestle Cat?
No, I don't.
Wrestle Incineroar is like one of my favorites.
Oh, good gracious. I
Wrestle-
prefer Decidueye. And actually, I prefer Poplio's evolution line. I think overall as a line, I prefer
Anyways,
Poplio's line
but
because
yes,
it's more
as we were
IP
as
and
you
weird-
were, come on.
I don't know what the other themes are for those.
Anyways, as you were talking about the open world aspect of this game.
yes.
So it
what-
seems, considering that they've said something about that, it does seem like Legends Arceus was kind of like an easing in point or a
Yeah,
test to see if
Legends
they could
Arceus-
do something like this.
I actually have a theory. I think Sword and Shield was also an ease which would explain why it felt so rushed. Because it was really made to show one mechanic
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. And I think that would explain it. Because if they've been working on this game on the side, along with Arceus and that sort of thing,
Uh-huh.
I mean, you saw those trees. People were talking about them.
Which trees?
And the Pokemon vanishing in Sword and Shield when you get a certain distance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I understand that. But that, like,
That-
you know.
That's why I think it would make more sense if, like, they didn't just throw it and say, this is Pokemon game, done. They obviously put at least a little bit of work into it.
Mhm.
It's still a game. But I think
Yeah.
it really was mostly an edging into Gen 9's style that they're wanting to go for with later Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Just, it would explain why it's so rushed feeling.
Mm. I
It
mean,
could've just been
sup-
rushed, but
I suppose, but also I would argue that Sword and Shield was rushed just because it was.
Yeah, I prefer my theory.
Like, well, I'm not blaming the developers. I'm just blaming the Pokemon company.
sure.
Because I would never blame Game Freak for their mishaps. I would always blame the Pokemon company for being greedy
Yeah.
fucks.
So I have two theories with the actual, I have two theories with Gen 9's
Uh-huh.
open world statement.
All right.
It's either going to be like Legends Arceus in a way, not quite like that because that would be too segmented and wouldn't be seamless but,
Mhm.
at all. But more like what you were saying with like there are different areas and as you go into one border happens.
Well, that is technically
Um,
what every other Pokemon game did. Like
Yeah, that's
areas you
true.
go through, and then you go through a loading
Or-
screen, and it loads up the next area.
Or they're going to attempt a Breath of the Wild type thing where it's all really just you walk into a building and there's no loading screen. Or you
I mean,
walk
I guess-
from town route to route.
I'm not saying they can't do that, but considering
It
its
sounds
release
like
date,
they're gonna attack.
like its release date is scheduled for late this year. We don't have a specific
Yeah.
month, but late this year. So probably somewhere between like September to December
And
time.
here's another thing.
And that like
I don't know
the
how
game
long they've
looks
actually been working on this gaming concept.
what?
Because they actually traveled to Spain several years ago. Like the people for research.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. It's very much based on Spain.
Oh yeah, I can tell by the starter names.
I was gonna get to the Spain because people are idiots. No,
It's like
the
Bococo, Quaxley, and Sprigatito. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I still will choose the cat, but you know, assuming its evolutionary line is good,
yeah.
or I'll just keep it as a cat for the whole time. I don't know how to pet you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely Spain.
So it's very much
I'm
it's a very
interested to see
heavily
wild
based in
Pokemon
Spain,
town. Because,
obviously.
yeah, it seems like they're gonna have wild Pokemon in towns.
Well, that would be interesting.
I'm interested because in the trailer,
Finally,
Chansey evolution, Blissey.
finally, I can catch a Meowth who talks.
I don't think so.
Why not?
Well, because even in the games, Meowth didn't talk, and in the game that he showed up in.
That's because he didn't learn how to talk. Come on, just have a Meowth who, for some reason, has an old style New Yorker accent, who learns how to talk by reading and listening to people so he can impress his
I think
girlfriend, even though that makes no sense, and his girlfriend actually wants to be with a fucking Perlo, whatever that his evolution is. I don't remember.
So, what do you think the?
I remember that episode.
Yeah, that was really weird. What do you think the
Fucking
evolutionary
Meowth's backstory,
active
man.
types are going to be for the other Pokemon?
What'd you say?
What do you think? The types, if they're going to get a second.
I
type,
heard
do you
somebody speculate that the pepper dinosaur is possibly ghost fire because it's based on a
Pepper.
chili, ghost pepper, because it's based on a chili.
think? Huh.
So it could be ghost fire because of ghost pepper. So, you know.
Well, it's the laid back Firecroc Pokemon.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, the laid back Firecroc Pokemon that does things at its own pace. So maybe a fire ground type or something like that.
I don't know. But yes.
Oh,
Violet-
maybe they'll go grass, fire, fire, grass, water, fire. They'll add the other type to the starter Pokemon. I don't think they will, but that would be very funny.
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, that's never been done before.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I am. I'm wondering if they're gonna keep some of the mechanics from Arceus, like the battle mechanics
I
specifically.
hope they turn
the
on.
agile and heavy.
I
style of,
hope they
like,
keep something
doing it.
similar to it.
The agile heavy style of attacks, and also the fact that like your Pokemon can sometimes just go multiple times in a row because of the things that they set up.
Yeah, I want that.
I'm interested to see if they'll keep that, because I think like it doesn't add a lot more like tactical
No.
ability to the game, but it does add something other than just
Yeah.
like pressing the A button.
And
It
using
adds a
Calm Mind.
small amount of tactical ability to the game,
Yeah,
more
It's
than it would
Calm
have
Mind, Calm Mind,
otherwise.
Calm Mind, Calm Mind, whack, 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 whack.
Yes. I'm interested to see if they'll keep that for the game. I'd kind of be surprised if they didn't, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't keep it, just because that game mechanic is kind of specifically for and was advertised to be for Arceus, so they might have a completely new mechanic for this one, which is very much in line with Pokemon's general disposition, I suppose, when it comes to the games. You noticed how like every new game had a new weird mechanic for your Pokemon to do? It's like first you had like I guess
Yeah.
Mega Evolutions was the start of this. Mega
Yeah.
Evolutions, and then special cool attacks, and then Gigantamaxing. So every game
And
has
then
tried to like
it really
differentiate
big.
itself from the previous one by just basically adding a completely new mechanic into it. So
All
I
right,
guess we'll
sure, why not?
see with that. Yeah. The other thing I want to mention is that I'm not a big fan of the main character designs. You know, they look a little
You're not what?
boring to me.
The
The
design?
the player character trainer designs are not super. They look a little boring to me. Kind
I
of
think they're fine.
lackluster, personally. But
I
that's
think
just
it's more
that's just
based
me.
on like. Well, I'm guessing it has something to do with Spain's like fashion. It seems like you start at like a school or something is what people are theorizing. At least I've heard that because of one of the buildings. Which could explain the kind of plain designs,
I suppose.
at least clothing wise. I think you're fine.
But yeah, game looks pretty good. Graphically
Yeah.
it looks fine. There is a little bit of not slow down. I don't know how to what is it called? Like words. What am I thinking?
Lag?
It's not lag. It's like frame dips for certain objects. I noticed the animation frames dip for certain objects within the trailer, but like other than that, it looks fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I suspect that's mostly like the early game trailer
I mean, it's not fun
because like
Well,
Arceus also had that. While there is a little bit of that in Arceus, it's not as bad as what was in the trailer.
Well, yeah, that trailer came out literally like a year before it was officially released.
Yeah.
And I guess that is the same case with this, but in a different, like the fact that it's released,
Yeah.
it's slated for like later this year is a little possibly worrying, depending on how they work the developers, but we'll see what happens, I guess. But what about you, Devin? You said you were excited about this, but you haven't really said much. What do you think?
I want to know what the starter evolutions are.
Well, the
You're
internet
excited about it.
the internet is theorizing that the cat Pokemon will be another anthropomorphic final evolution.
No. I just want a cat.
I just want a giant cat.
Stop ruining the cat Pokemon.
Giant cat. Yeah.
This cat does not want my hand to move.
Makes sense. So what do you
We're
think
getting
about
We're getting
Scarlet and Violet, Devin?
awful.
It's very soon. It's certainly soon. I'm surprised about how quickly they were able to get it out.
Yeah.
Should be fun to play, I guess. I don't know. I
Alright.
don't have a Switch. Didn't actually play the last Pokemon game that was released because
Don't
they
worry,
made
you
it
don't
on a
need
new system.
I mean, you.
Well, Legend Arceus is fun, but I need to get a blue light filter for my computer screen, like something that I can put over it, because blue light hurts my eyes now.
All right then.
Wear my blue light glasses. I have a pair of those.
Nope, never.
You don't
No,
even
glasses
like
are
wearing
misery.
your normal glasses.
Exactly. Hey, at least I don't need them to see. That's the nice thing.
Unless
Yeah,
you do actually
unlike
need them to
me.
No, I need them to read properly without having words mess up.
So otherwise, they give you dyslexia.
Yeah, something like that.
Glasses don't fix dyslexia. I know for
They
a
help
fact
me.
they don't.
They help my eyes keep track of the letters.
Because you
Well,
can't
I
see.
have reading glasses.
Whatever.
I can see. The words move around.
Clearly, you can't see if you can't read.
I know how my eyes work, Aaron.
They're his eyes. Hmm.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like saying explosions aren't cool. Or something, I guess. It could technically mean that. Anyhow, what's next on the docket?
What? Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's basically. I think we've kind of exhausted our opinions on Violet and Scarlet. I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to see the new Pokemon.
Yeah. It looks good. I'm excited. I don't know. I will say, once again, the internet proves to know how to aggravate the fuck out of me by complaining about the graphics again.
Oh, are you kidding me? I was like, background graphics. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it's early game footage.
But
Okay, are the
it's-
graphics actually bad? I don't see
The
graphics.
background graphics aren't like the best thing in the world.
They look fine.
They're
Like
not
graphically,
bad.
the game looks fine. It looks about on par with Arceus, except it has a slightly different art style.
Yeah, it's like I like it. I like the art style.
Okay. Graphically, things have gotten to the point where I can't tell.
I don't know. I'm so fucking tired of people complaining about graphics, man. It's so aggravating.
Think of the children, though. If they don't have good graphics, they'll.
They have good
bad taste.
graphics. We've had good graphics for the past 20 years.
If they don't have good graphics in Pokemon games, then they'll have bad taste. Although, honestly, the thing is, my favorite graphics in any Pokemon game were actually the 8-bit games. Still.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. No, it's a style.
I like 8-bit though.
Yes.
Clearly.
Anyways, I just want to bring that up because God, I'm so tired of hearing people complain about graphics. It's genuinely annoys me to such a strong degree. It wouldn't annoy me as much if I didn't keep fucking seeing it. You know, because it's just one of those things where even though I haven't really had an argument with anybody and you both agree with me on my points about graphics, it's one of those things where it's just like, you feel like you've been arguing the same point for so long and you just get so tired of saying the same things or just seeing the same thing continue to be brought up about things that you know for a fact don't matter, but people think they do anyways. And it just gets so fucking tiring. Anyways.
Yup.
Yes.
Get that.
I don't need. Yes. Anyways. Yes. That was the. I need to stop saying but yes because God, I annoy myself sometimes when I do that. Moving on. I was about to say it again. That was the trailer for Pokemon Scarlet
Yes.
and Violet. It will be releasing sometime late this year. Most likely, unless it gets delayed, which I wouldn't
I'd be
mind per
fine with
se.
that.
Actually, thinking about it, considering it's being slated for late this year, it'll probably come out in December
Yeah.
because then it'll
December,
try
November.
and release for the Christmas market.
Yeah.
Like to try and get the big. It'll either release at Christmas or it'll release during a month where not a lot of other high-profile things are being released.
Yeah, like what's a month where a bunch of high-profile games are being released?
Yeah, it happens a lot. I mean, there's only so many months and so many days, so sometimes you just get a month where everything is being released at the same time, and it's just
Here's the
ridiculous.
question: is the movie being released every day? Not good movies.
I mean, no. Oh, you know what? I know this is very off tangent, but there's a fucking reboot of Chip and Dale that's live action that's coming out for streaming services.
What?
I literally saw that this morning. I literally saw there's a fucking
What and
live
what?
action remake of the animated Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers cartoon thing coming out. This is entirely off topic, and neither of you know what I'm talking about, but that just annoyed me. Anyways.
All right. Sounds
A
good.
Live action of another anime, eh?
Well, it's not an anime, it's an animated series, but yes. That was probably a overly pedantic thing to say, but whatever. Anyways, moving on. Host topics, we don't got those. Moving on. News, we got that. Like I said, we were looking at the Pokemon Presents. I already went over that in regards to the trailer, so we can just move on to the other pieces of news we have. Which is, first of which, Pill Panther of do not weaponize game for battle between platforms. In non-dumb speak, basically, Phil Spencer received a Lifetime Achievement Award. Spencer was recently awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award at DICE in 2020. And he did an acceptance speech where he basically called out toxic work environments, kind of echoing some stuff. What's her name? Laura Meal said last week. Remember the EA executive who did a call out of the toxic? Yeah, so he's kind of echoing some stuff she said as well. But on top of that, he also it goes on record to say that he he thinks it's very often that creations can be kind of weaponized and used in battles between platforms and other things. Spencer said, I look at everybody who is brave enough to create something, put it out, have their peers, the industry players play and analyze and talk about what they do. Let's just celebrate the fact that so many great games are coming out from so many creators and realize that such things are foundation for where this industry is going to go. So he's basically, in a very nice way, telling people to grow the fuck up. And I get the argument, but basically he's saying that he doesn't want people to weaponize games or have large arguments over what things you prefer, because having the console wars as a concept is really dumb, because it basically entirely depends on fanboys going to fucking wars and insulting people over a choice of console, which is really dumb. And then they'll also he says weaponize games, and he means that in they'll weaponize exclusives and say, oh, my console has these things, your console doesn't have jack, or something along those lines. He's basically just calling out the absurd fanboyism and strangeness of basically a tribalistic war over a piece of plastic. And also,
I wonder what your opinions are on this, Aaron.
I don't care. The one thing that I used to get mad about was PC gamers making fun of console gamers, but that's just because I don't think PC games are really like this. There probably are a few niche ones, but there was this whole the PC master race thing, which was started ironically, but then some jackasses started using it unironically. So there was this whole weird, mightier than thou kind of mindset certain PC gamers had over console gamers, because they had better things, objectively speaking. And they do. PCs on the whole will probably always be more powerful and more, better, quote unquote, than consoles, but that doesn't really matter. As long as we're all playing games and having fun, that's the only thing that matters. However, I will say, and I understand this side of the argument, is to say some people have said, isn't isn't it Phil Spencer's like job to weaponize and do this kind of thing with like ad campaigns to like, because I get that idea of like, you know, obviously there's competition. They want you, there is a competition going on. They want you to have their thing, so they'll might be ad campaigns or even ways of just saying like, oh, buy our thing over the other thing. But that doesn't mean you have to go out of your way to insult and belittle other people just because of a choice of console. Like, friendly competition is the name of the game. It's literally a friendly competition. All companies are secretly in bed with one another. They just put on a front for business. You know.
What if they're all secretly the same company?
I mean, technically, aren't they to some degree?
I mean, kind of.
Like Microsoft and Sony aren't owned by anything, but they certainly do own a lot of companies. To the point where you might as well just say everything is owned by a certain person. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically like the gist of the article, or a bit of news. It's, you know, he received a lifetime award and gave a speech calling out toxicity in the industry and also just telling people to grow the fuck up in a nice way, you know. But
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, seems good. Yeah, people
All
should grow up.
Yeah. I mean,
know.
like I said, I do get the idea. I do completely understand the
But-
view of like, this is a comp. Obviously, companies put on the what.
I was just gonna say, people given the way nature, like the way that the nature of people works. If we aren't fighting about something, we'll be fighting about something else, and if we aren't fighting about anything, we'll find something to fight about. And it's not because like, oh, we love fighting and fighting is so horrible. It's just that like we actually do like fighting, and fighting has some positives to it, because if you fight over something, you can actually get somewhere if you're fighting like fairly or in fun, and you like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
Yeah,
the whole like friendly competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfriendly competition is where people like call you racial slurs because you don't like a certain console.
Yeah, that's going too far. Those people need to grow up.
Yes, they do. That's the other sad part, is that most of the people that are doing this are actually adults, at least in terms of age. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they certainly might be of age. I don't know if they're adults. They certainly are older. Oh.
Yeah, well, they're adults as far as the law is concerned.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them adults in the eyes of me, though. Anyways, but yes, I do completely just going back to my original point, I do completely understand the idea that like companies are fighting each other in regards to like competition, and competition is good for an industry because it, provides, it makes people actually innovate and create better things for the public. Like if there isn't any competition, that means that people at the top don't have to actually care about what they're producing because everybody doesn't have a choice. So competition is really healthy for an industry.
Not just that. It's that there's no accountability for a bad product.
Yeah, also that.
There's no way to get, so like if you don't have competition in an industry where it's like, I have the exclusive right to host this show. Well, what if the website that you're hosting on is bad? Well, I can't watch, if I want to watch that show, I have to use a bad website. And it's like, well, that's not something we want.
Yeah.
I have the exclusive right to sell this medicine. It's like, really? What if you what if you do the medicine wrong? Or what if you decide you want to overprice it?
Yeah, it's just all around monopolies are always bad things.
The one thing I would say is for video games and anime and stuff,
Disney would disagree that Monopoly is bad.
it's definitely not an essential. So if you have like a monopoly on a particular toy.
Well, I get that. And I understand that video games are not essential. They're generally just used for fun or escapism, but they are a form of art. And I would argue art has meaning of at least some degree.
Oh, sure. But I'm saying it's not as a monopoly in art isn't as bad. So it's like Van Gogh is the only guy who can paint Van Gogh paintings. You're not going to be able to take away his monopoly right to paint Van Gogh paintings. Like how would
yes, you are right. with the aside from plagiarism, but that's a different thing.
Forgery.
The fact of the matter is that I do agree with you, and also understand the fact that like companies are at least to the public at each other's throats because they want you to buy their product over another company's. But in reality, the companies are most likely always at least like somewhatly, somewhat.
They're always at least somewhatly.
They're always at least somewhat like, in word,
in bed with
man.
each other.
Yes, that's the point.
Yeah.
It's the fact that the general public
they're all spawned from each other. So like Blank, the first company to make video games, inspired the other companies, and so they're all tied together inextricably from the fact that the world is all tied together.
Yeah. And
on top of that, they're also like literally like sometimes they stemmed from each other. Like a guy who worked at one founded the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's happened like all the time in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a matter of fact that like the general public are the people that create these weird tribal like ideas around.
It's almost like the ancient kings and stuff, where it's like, oh no, I want my brother of the ancient king who died 4 years ago, whose half son is the stepson of the something else, distant relation. Not your version of basically what I just said.
Mm-hmm.
I want my version of that.
It's the general idea that like, people have these like tribalistic ideas or just like mentalities when it comes to certain things, just because they have so much like, I don't know, what's the word? Investment in it. You know what I mean? Whether that investment stems from anything meaningful is questionable, but like it happens with sports teams too. Like, sports teams, movies, games, books, like everything. Just, it happens with a lot of things. And I understand that like it's the minority that does this, but that doesn't make them any less loud, nor does it technically dwindle their numbers, because the world is a very large place. Even the minority is probably made up of thousands of people. So,
if not millions in some cases.
Yeah, it's just like the world is massive. There are so many people in the world that even if you claim it to be a minority, there is almost a guarantee that there is at least like over 1,000 people in this minority you claim. I
mean, Aaron, if you think about it, you'd assume that minorities are, you'd assume that millionaires are a minority in the U.S. and they are. They're not, majority of people in the U.S. are not millionaires yet. Mm-hmm. However, and I say it yet with definite traction on that. Yes, the majority of the U.S. will be millionaires. You won't feel like a millionaire, but you will be a millionaire if things do not change. And it's not like I'm not threatening anything. I don't care. I just think it's funny. Anyway, the point is, currently in the U.S. there are like 10 million millionaires or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you think about it, you're like, wait, what? 10 million is a lot. That's a ton of people.
Yeah.
However, those millionaires are not liquid millionaires. They're people who like own $200,000 house and then other assets equal to $1 million total.
Yeah. They're not like Jeff Bezos.
They're not like Jeff Bezos. And they're not like a Saudi prince or whatever, who's even richer than Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
They're not like Putin or something. They don't have unlimited funds.
Yeah.
They're just a guy who has earned up $1 million. Because like in real life, most people who get a job and work and stuff, they're gonna have like $4 or $5 million pass through them. They're gonna, over their lifetime, they're gonna have made that much in income.
Well, yeah, but not all at once.
Not all at once, but the point is, if they were careful about it and they saved like 20% of their money every time they made money, by the end when they're ready to retire at age 70 or whatever, they'll have $1 million. It's just that most people are not going to do that, me included. I'm just not able to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
really able to do that. Although I'm too young to do that, and I hadn't saved stuff. I'm just not saving that large of a percentage.
Yeah.
Anyway,
like I get it, and it does
Something
relate
you
to
would
like
think is a minority, like for example, child molest. No, just kidding. Just for example,
I feel like even in the grand scheme of things, that is a minority.
yes.
Like objectively speaking.
No, yes, thankfully, because it'd be horrible if humans were programmed like that. Like, how do those
Yeah,
people
it's
reproduce?
I mean,
How do they
well,
pass their
yeah,
genes on?
be very
How?
strange.
Are women attracted? No, wait. We're not going. We're not
Wait,
going
what? No, you know what? Let's just fucking destroy that thought before it can
Yep,
gain
let's-
any traction.
Okay, so as I was saying, minorities, something, they can have a louder voice. Like in real life, Twitter and Twitter is a small percentage of the people who actually use the internet, and
Yes.
people who use the internet most people in the US use the internet, and you'd be right, most people do, but there's actually like sizable portion of people who just don't use the internet.
Yeah, there's a large portion of people that don't use the internet. There's a large portion of people that do, and there's a large portion of people that use Twitter. But at the same time, that's all like relative.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention the fact that a large portion of the
And
people
Aaron,
on the internet
100%
are
of the people who
children.
use Twitter.
Hmm?
Just think about that.
What'd you say?
100% of the people who use Twitter are on Twitter.
Yeah, you're right. So stupid. Yeah,
Right.
it's all relative, and just in the concept of things. I don't know. We haven't really gotten off topic. We've spanned into a different section of the topic, which is like
Even though
talking
Twitter
about
users
minorities.
even though Twitter users are minority of the population, they might seem like they're a larger portion.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about something else now?
Well, that's basically the end of that. Like,
Okay.
I was basically just, even a minor, and you got it. I don't need to say it again. You understand my point. Anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news and final bit of news, which is Activision being massive idiots once more. It's amazing that they can continue on this path. I'm surprised they still have legs to stand on, honestly. But yes, so Activision, what's it? Just Activision in general, I suppose. Yeah, so I'll start out with this. So the state of California says that by law, companies with boards consisting of 6 people or more must have at least 3 women serving on them. Activision boards exceeds this number and yet failed to introduce a 3rd woman in 2021. Now, why do you think that is? It couldn't possibly be due to them, right? It has to be because Microsoft, whose dealings with them only happened in the last several months or so, it has to be that reason, right? It can't be them being terrible. But yes, Activision stated.
No, how could that possibly be the case?
No, I can't possibly be that. Yes. Yeah. So you may have noticed the thing I've been alluding to very terribly is that so Activision has claimed that Microsoft is the reason they have not hired what?
There just weren't enough women in all of California.
There just weren't enough women, man. Just weren't enough women. They all moved to the other side of the country because of how terrible California is.
I mean, if Activision actually says that in their press statement, it's like, the reason is because we actually weren't able to hire.
Yeah. No, but specifically speaking, with Activision, so Activision has stated the reason for the failure is due to its planned acquisition from Microsoft, complicating the matter. I'm not sure how, but they say since the company's current directors would cease to continue to serve as our board of directors upon consummation of our proposed transaction with Microsoft, we're unable to conclude the process in 2021, Activision says. However, the law was the company goes on to say we'll be continuing our efforts to appoint a new female director. Well, that's good on them. I'm glad that they're really making up for their past mistakes, except they aren't, because they're blaming another company for their own stupidity. Because the law itself was first put in place in 2019, roughly 3 years ago now.
That doesn't sound like.
So the fact of the matter is, Activision had roughly 3 or so years to comply with this law. They didn't. And now that they're getting called out for it, they are attempting to obfuscate their stupidity by claiming Microsoft is to blame, even though the planned acquisition only really happened within the last several months or so anyways. Yeah, also Activision, it's also been stated that, fucking Bobby Kotick has known about a lot of the sexual misconduct and mistreatment for years, apparently, despite his knowledge. Kotick failed to
in
tell.
those cases where you have you heard of James O'Keefe? And I'm not about to talk about James O'Keefe. I'm just talking about the
I
origin.
don't think so.
So
I'm bad with
he's the
names.
guy-
So
Okay, back in 2007, there was a government-sponsored program called Acorn that was to help people, basically help poor people get subsidized housing. However, it was notoriously corrupt and problematic, where people could get brothels to get funding for it. And so he decided to step things up to the next level. Him and his friend dressed up as a pimp and a prostitute and went there pretending that they were going to be bringing some underage girls from El Salvador and wanting to get housing for them. And in every place except one, because they went all over the country for this, they found that the people at the Acorn facility offered to help them.
I see.
People offered to help them, not like just was like, no, I'm not gonna send you to jail for trafficking underage people. No, offered to help them. One guy said that he couldn't help them.
I see.
And he didn't like arrest them or anything. He just didn't offer to help them.
That makes sense to me.
It was just the kind of thing where it's like, when there's a horrible situation going on, people just start acting like it's normal.
That doesn't. It's just.
It doesn't make it cool. It's just that it makes sense. If he was ignoring it for a while, he was probably ignoring it for a much longer time too.
Yeah, but it's just like, he didn't tell anybody about it. He didn't tell the board of directors or any of the executives everything he knew.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Makes sense. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, so that, like, I don't know. That's basically this is another short. That's basically just the gist of it. It also
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that an executive didn't tell people about misconduct that was happening in his company that he would then have to spend effort trying to deal with and make enemies of. Wow, what a unexpected thing.
I'm not saying it's unexpected. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. It's horrible. It is horrible. Oh my gosh.
Anyways, but here's the more ridiculous thing: the fact that Activision is still somehow trying to claim that they're in the right. That's the thing that's actually ridiculous. The fact that Activision, even throughout everything that has come out about their company and everything about a lot of their higher ups, they're still trying to just dodge the bullet. I don't like, they've been shot 3 times and they're still trying to dodge the damn thing. I just don't understand how they're this dumb.
Maybe they think it'll work.
It fucking clearly will not.
If they just deny it enough, maybe it'll work.
There are too many people that have come clean at this point for anything against them to work. The best thing that's going to happen at Activision Blizzard is all of the higher ups getting fired once the fucking transaction is complete.
And then they'll have big leaving parcels. What's it called?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't doubt that, especially considering I mentioned this last week, but obviously Bobby Kotick is most likely guaranteed to remain in his position until the transaction completes. So, like, they probably will get lots of money after this, but at least they'll be gone. Like that is the one silver lining. They will be gone and they will no longer be in charge of the company. And hopefully Microsoft will do a better job. And if they won't, then we'll have this same process again. 20 years from now, Microsoft will go through this same process and some Disney will buy Microsoft. Assuming they're still a corporate entity.
Disney buying Microsoft. Aaron, when has giant companies ever bought each other? That doesn't.
Disney will just.
Remember when Disney bought Fox? That was fucking ridiculous.
Yes. Remember when Disney bought Minecraft? Wait, that wasn't Disney.
That was Microsoft.
Yeah.
I mean, Microsoft, that was a large transaction, but that was mostly just because Notch asked for that much money and he said yes to it. Like, that was a very large transaction, but it was just a single property. Like, it was a single property and a indie developer, pretty much. So, like, a lot of money changed hands, but it wasn't necessarily a large transaction.
Was that the biggest sale of an indie developer in the US?
Probably. I'd be surprised if there was another, like, anything else.
Oh.
I would be surprised if there was a higher, like, transaction rate for just, like, an indie developer. Because that's the thing. Mojang was, is an indie developer, or was anyways. I guess they have official backing by Microsoft at this point, but Minecraft was essentially made by like 3 guys originally, and then they became a larger company eventually, after their indie status. And then Notch sold his company for like $1 bajillion or however much it was.
Yep. Pretty sure it was exactly I think it was 6 billion.
Probably something in that range. Anyways, but yeah,
billionaire overnight, kids. Make
Minecraft. Now he doesn't, and he became a billionaire overnight, and complains that nobody likes him and only likes him for his money. I wonder why that's the case. It couldn't possibly
he
because
complained that once online and it blew up with people talking about it, and he was asked in an interview about it and he was like, what? Oh yeah, I posted that to Twitter like once. It's just I don't put a mask on when I'm on Twitter. I'm just me. And so if I'm going through a bad time.
Yeah.
You remember this?
Yes, I do.
I thought video breaking down the incident.
What?
Because I had too much time on my hands. Breaking down Notch's Twitter. So Notch would tweet stuff and he would just kind of tweet stuff that he was interested in or things that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
And not like he used Twitter kind of the way Twitter is used, without wearing a mask and pretending things or faking who he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not. I don't know. I don't need to discuss this. It's just not part of the thing we're going through, anyways. You know what I mean?
I don't need this right now.
Well, I don't necessarily I don't have a lot to say about it either. It's like I don't necessarily disagree with you, aside from like him just being a little weird. It's just his own
he's
thing.
Super weird.
Yeah, it's just like
he's super weird.
like I just don't have a lot to say about it. It's already been gone through.
How about we move on to the next bit of news? I had my first child.
What?
Yep. His name is Fred. He was born
Fred Durst?
I know this is a lie.
Yes.
Just kidding. I'm not going to name my kid Fred. His name is Peter.
If you do, you gotta give him the last name of Durst.
Peter Durst?
Fred Durst.
Fred Durst? Wait, why?
I don't know. Because it's a funny name.
That just seems cruel.
I don't think that's a good reason to name your kids things. I'm naming him Peter because I really like Peter the Great. I think he was one of the better monarchs.
Peter.
Because he's amazing, and he brought Russia from a backwater into the modern age, which is insane. It's like, holy moly. Yeah. And then secondly, more like, forget what country he was a part of. He sacrificed himself. He put himself in danger to save people from a boat.
All right.
Boat accident. He wasn't an arrogant prick. He was an actual ruler, like an actual king.
I'm sorry, but boat accident just kind of, I'm not saying it's not, You know what I mean? It's just, it's one of those things where like when you think of boats and time period, it's just like, oh, it's kind of slow, isn't it?
A boat accident, as in they fell into the water and didn't know how to swim.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Anyways,
Die of that. He saved the person. He just died of getting sick.
he
Because everyone died.
died of getting sick. Ah, yes,
Yeah,
much like
literally.
everybody else of the time.
Look in the past and just like look at the cause of death. Everyone died of getting sick.
Yeah, that's unsurprising.
Uh,
But anyways, yes, my Activision leader, I don't even know, leaders that brought Russia into a state of power aside, I guess, that is the end of the news.
a state of modernity. So they Russia was one of the most powerful. It was one of the most powerful. It was still a very powerful, dangerous, scary country. But
Mhm.
Alexander made it so that the people were actually able to eat enough and stuff.
Makes sense. Yeah, and then they had some problems.
Yes, Russia's had some problems.
It's kind of weird that the past, like, what,
I think part of them is that
100 years of Russian history is basically just rebellion and death.
Yeah,
It's kind of,
part of it is due to the fact that Russians are super patriotic, and so if leaders tell them to do stuff, they do them.
so
and
patriotic that they
don't think for
overthrew
themselves
their
very well.
ruler and installed a new one multiple times.
Well, okay.
Well, actually, that's not really unique. France did that several times. France went through
Yeah,
fucking
England did-
revolution like every other
everyone
week.
did that.
France went through a revolution like every other week. So,
Yeah.
Anyways, but yes, Activision are continuing their spiral downfall into stupidity. I'm honestly just interested to see what they do next at this point. I'm just interested what else they'll try and do to make themselves seem innocent. Because they're grasping at straws and the straws aren't very long. So yeah, that's the end of the news. So yeah. Well, actually, I will say, anything to say about that? We kind of went off on a tangent, but anything to add or say?
No.
Okay, good. Just clarifying. So, that's
All
the end
hell
of the
China,
news.
democracy is bad. Have you seen that video?
What?
It's a video talking about Blizzard and the new pro China game that they're
Mhm.
making, and someone's saying like, wait, you can't do that. This was after they banned that streamer. Like, you can't
Yes.
do this. And they're like, wait, we can't do this. It's like, yeah, so the new game is called All Hail China, Democracy is Bad, after they banned the streamer for talking about Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Yeah.
send it to you afterwards. It's by a little YouTuber guy.
I do remember that. I'm pretty sure we talked about that on the podcast at some point.
Really?
I think they did. I think we did
Okay.
anyways.
Well,
I mean, we've been
Yeah.
doing this for a while, so I don't know.
we talked about that news story. Yes, I think we did.
Fairly certain we did.
Like, camera's all fuzzy. No, it's
That's because you touched it. Now it's blurry.
no, it's always blurry.
Sure. Okay.
No, it's not always blurry. You're right. I touched it. Okay.
It's just, you smudged the lens.
Look, I am a professional camera person who doesn't know how lenses work.
Good
Normal,
to know.
perfectly normal.
Good to know. But yes, let's just move on to shameless self-promotion and the show, shall we?
Okay.
So, shameless self-promotion, the program of the show we will show.
What?
What have you got going on this week?
What do I have going on this week? So I'm gonna
Yeah, like thing
like
like coming up, anything to promote, things you're doing.
depending on how over the top I go with the editing, I don't know how long it'll take, but I'm gonna start on it tonight. I'm thinking when I get
Alright.
back.
And this
Okay.
is
I remember.
for
This is
for-
Spellbound Cage.
Okay.
Yes.
And this isn't a this week thing, but eventually I'll finish the role playing game.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you get
Okay.
to publish it.
document. Yeah, I'll just have to publish it.
Be too hard.
Make illustrations for it, and
Yeah.
That shouldn't be too hard.
yeah,
No,
cat.
realistically,
No,
shouldn't be
cat.
hard.
No. Cat was starting to lie down on the keyboard. He saw I wasn't paying attention to him. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
And people can find you places where you don't upload.
On Thologram when I upload that video, which might not be this week, but you know,
No, you're gonna finish it quickly. You're gonna do the editing quickly.
I said depending on how over the top I go.
I'm gonna show you the editing technique to do.
I know how I'm gonna edit it.
No, you're not, because I'm gonna show you how to edit it.
No, I know how I'm gonna edit it.
Nope,
All
you
right,
don't.
well,
No.
Devin, why don't you amaze
Shut
us
up.
with your editing skills by telling us what you have edited and will be posting?
Well, I have edited some Minecraft videos, which are all posted over at Bean the Builder. I've also edited, and it took a lot longer to edit them, some Magic the Gathering videos, which you can find over here. There's no image here, but we're just gonna pretend. I should probably like print out something so I can like hold up an image of it, show how low budget we are.
I mean, just it's a thing. I
but
really
yes,
wish annotation still existed on YouTube, because then I could actually put something there.
Well, so you can find me over here, my Magic the Gathering videos on Bean's Budget Brewery. And then the last thing is,
Annotations claim to still exist.
No, they don't.
Then what's the
they
button
show up
that
over the corner.
annotations on off?
Well, yeah, but you used
So-
to be able to like put a little box anywhere in the screen and put words
Oh,
in it. And you
Yeah.
could do like little weird things with it, and it was very fun and creative, and that doesn't exist anymore because
Nope.
YouTube.
because they removed it. So the last thing is, you can find me if you want to find just my like random stuff, my Mr. Wolf videos. You can look for Mr. Wolf, and you can find it by typing in DELI Deli, and then yet, and then the Z. So it's Deli yet Z. Deli
Yeah,
Z.
because that's what your original channel was, and it hasn't been around long enough to get new traffic.
And if you Google search the word Deli Z, you will get Mr. Wolf. Mr. Wolf is the channel. It's my budget Mr. Beast channel. I
yeah,
have random stuff on it.
good,
Fun.
good, very good,
Currently,
very
currently I'm
good.
working on a video called War is Bad.
Is it?
It is. War is bad. That is a very agreeable statement. Most
Mhm.
people, even people who make money off of war, like war profiteers, would say, yeah, war is bad. Because they're still humans.
Yes.
Warmongers would say that war is good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because when you were saying that, my
Psychopath.
first thought was literally Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, the first opening cutscene where
Oh.
the guy's like, "What? How's an honest warmonger supposed to make a profit?" or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Because Sundowner is a fucking maniac. That's his name.
So his
It's-
name is Sundowner.
Yes, the Californian
I would-
wildfire.
I am actually going to be making another video called Bring Back the Cheese, or where did the cheese go, or who took the cheese, or something like that, about cheese with movies. Because when was the last cheesy movie that came out where it wasn't unserious and comedy, but where there was cheesy stuff and you accepted it as part of the movie because it was awesome? Like Last Action Hero is an example of that.
Yeah,
And the Hercules movie that came out recently with Dwayne Johnson in it, it had a scene where he punches a horse, and it was awesome.
I mean, I would have technically said
Dumb.
the Transformers film, but that was
Oh,
dark and
that's fair.
serious.
Bumblebee?
Remember?
oh, what
Sorry,
about
not
Bumblebee?
Transformers, the fucking Power Rangers film.
Oh,
Remember the recent Power Ranger film that was like
I
dark and
remember
serious?
hearing about it. I did not see it though.
Also, actually, the
It's
first
bad.
Michael Bay Transformers is a good example of good cheese, before the series took a massive dive into Michael
Okay.
Bay's weird fetishistic ideas of what is good. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't even
Yeah, there haven't been as many good cheesy movies. Whereas like in old movies at
Shape
the end, there'll
of
just be a weird.
Water, maybe?
That was cheesy.
I mean, well, no, but like you could.
Okay.
I don't know. Like the plot is that the main character falls in love with a sea creature. Well, not a sea
Yeah.
creature, but the sea monster.
Okay.
I don't know. Like it's harder to find cheese sometimes because, like, obviously there are certain
Fair.
varieties of it, and I would argue that at least to some degree that is a little cheesy, at least in terms of like
I mean, it's a little bit
I don't know.
cheesy, but it's not the kind of. I mean,
it's
I think that's
okay.
cheesy. I think that's good.
Cheesy
Yeah,
is not necessarily the right.
a girl
It's
falls
like
in love with the sea monster.
it's very like
ungrounded.
it's very weirdly traditional love story, kind of like sappiness, but it's with a sea monster instead of a person.
Cool.
You
That
know.
was Demetrio del Toro, right?
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro.
I can't
Who's
pronounce
Benicio
his
del
first
Toro?
name, but his last name I can. Yeah,
Okay.
Guillermo del Toro.
Okay,
Yeah, that was him. He's a good director. I like him a lot.
I've heard.
He also worked on several things with Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear Solid. So that's another fun thing.
This is like Metal Gear just showed up so many times.
Well, it's the thing I played, and there's it happens to
Oh, I know,
connect.
it
It
does.
happens to weirdly connect to a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, it's nice. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
Got
All right.
those
Then.
3 channels. No need to worry about Blingdon. That doesn't exist. Sabre is a channel that I will not be working on until I have my timing schedule fixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got to basically get it so that I'm writing every day consistently, and then I also got to get it so that I am doing the other things consistently and keeping up with chores and keeping up with eating and drinking and everything, and then also
I
not
see.
going behind on my 2 main creative projects, which are the Minecraft channel, the Magic channel, and the other channel. So actually, that's 3.
You should start doing meal prep, considering your schedule.
Meal prep? No, I go
Yeah,
over to your
like
house. That's
prepping
when I eat.
meals for the week.
Yeah, when I go over to your house, I eat.
That isn't meal prep. That's just stealing food from my house. No, what I mean by meal prep is like literally prepping meals for throughout the week. So it's like you make things on a certain day, and that's your like meals for the entire week.
That's a good idea.
Or several days, like meal prep. I don't do meal prep, but that's just because like I have enough food in my house on like a regular basis to just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So I don't really need to meal prep.
Meal
But
prep would be a good
if
idea.
I had a more strict schedule, I would definitely meal prep because it's very useful to just, know that you have food for whenever you want. And
All
hey,
right.
the meal prep can just be whatever you want.
Yeah, granola bars.
I mean, yeah, you could make
granola
your own
bars every
granola
day.
bars.
10 granola bars every day.
You could make your own granola bars,
I could. I've done that before. It's actually pretty fun.
Mhm.
I might do that actually. I might just go make some granola bars. It's almost sunset.
Hey, it's not dark outside. That means we're getting closer to spring.
So can I do a quick shout out?
Sure.
So Mahler just released a new video.
No, go away.
Hey,
I didn't know
like
what you were
listening
gonna do, but I should have suspected as much.
to his soothing British voice. I can't do this. I can't imitate him.
Oh, hey, I can't. I don't.
I haven't listened to him in a while. It's so
I don't know
hard.
what he sounds like, so.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the critique of The Last Jedi. This movie is bad.
Oh, you like that? Oh, it's the Last Jedi.
That is not how he sounds at all.
No, it definitely isn't. That's not how anybody sounds.
Well,
Maybe some like backwoods Australian.
it is really weird if you interact with enough people. You'll just be like, wow, those weird accents that you just make up in your head, those are actually real people sometimes. Oh my god.
Yeah, it depends on what part of the world you're in, but sometimes those exist.
There's a lady who doesn't have any eyes or nose. She just has like a mouth, and that's her face. That's it. And she got married and had 3 kids.
All right.
It's just cool.
Okay, then.
So cool.
Thank you for the trivia. So that's what you've got.
Cool.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just so cool because like the strength of that. It's like Helen Keller, but modern age, but not as disabled. Just cool.
Sounds
looking.
like a good subtitle for a movie.
No.
All right. So that's what you have coming up this week.
That is what I have coming up this week.
All right.
I have
Cool.
the video. Wait, what is it? I have the video about why something is something. What was it?
You said something about cheesy.
Yeah, we'll bring back the cheese, which I haven't figured out what I'm doing for that. A video about a new deck on the Bean Magic the Gathering channel, and then a video on the about war is bad, because war is bad.
Yeah. All right. Then.
Literally, no one disagrees with me.
Warmongers, I guess.
Yeah. Now, if I said something like we should kill warmongers, that's a statement people would disagree with, because there are a lot of people who are like, we can't just go killing people we say are warmongers.
No, that's true. Unless their name happens to be Putin, but you know.
Well, if we assassinated Putin, here's the thing: if we assassinated Putin, it would cause a couple of problems. One, it would cause the problem of our allies and enemies now knowing that we just assassinate people that we don't like, and so the actual rulers of those countries would either go into hiding or start having proxy rulers, so we don't actually know who's actually in charge. And then secondly, I mean, maybe that would happen. And then secondly, we might not actually be able to get away with it. And then Putin will be like, dude, you can't just try to assassinate me, US. And then he'll go out and attack on the US. And we don't really want Russia to be like attacking us actively.
Obviously. I mean,
and thirdly, the
assassinations are just bad. It always ends poorly.
Wait, Aaron, I have to say the third thing. And thirdly, the Russians have so invaded our government that if we tried to send the order to assassinate them, we wouldn't, because the people who are in our government are all actually Russian spies.
No. Also, I just want to point out, I know not. I just want to say something. This is very off topic, and it just reminded us. Like, I know not every assassination attempt in history was a failure, but there's a very large amount that were.
Yeah.
Like, if you look, like, a lot of the assassination attempts, like, that we remember are massive failures.
The Queen had like 7 or 8. How many assassination attempts did the Queen
get?
So many of them.
It's weird how many assassinations fail in history, you know?
It's as if humans weren't made to kill each other.
At least not well.
Did you know there's a video talking about it, but there was a study done where people were they studied the bullet marks after some battle, and they found that most soldiers didn't actually aim at the enemy. They didn't aim at the enemy soldiers. They just kind of like aimed in the general direction of the enemy, because they didn't actually want to hurt anyone. Yeah. So if they just shoot in the general direction and someone gets killed,
that's the problem with war. Everybody in it has morals.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, except for the leaders, weirdly.
I was going to say there's also a small group of elite soldiers that'll just plow through people because they actually are trained killers.
Yes. Also, anyways, this is very so
just like me, Aaron, a trained killer who can murder people in Minecraft.
Because this was part of what we are doing, because this is what we're advertising. Get ready for Devin, Elite SEAL Agent.
Yep, Elite SEAL Agent. That's a video now. Okay.
Elite SEAL. Enjoy the idea. Anyways, so that's what I'm not even gonna fucking say it again. What have I got going on this week? You may podcast
no
will
one
continue
cares.
to be. You're right. No one does.
I'm sorry.
So podcast, as always, continue to be uploaded on YouTube and SoundCloud. GTD, you know what it is.
Yeah, every Sunday.
Yes, every Sunday continued to be uploaded, most likely anywhere from like 7 to 12 time frame wise. It depends on when I get up and when I start uploading it.
Okay.
I also need to get a new internet connector for this computer, because like it's the little USB thing is working fine, but it also is like I have bad download I think I have bad like upload speed because of it.
Yeah, it's not the best.
So I need a new connector for the internet to my computer, because goddamn does it not want to work right. So you know.
I remember you. It's something. It's not the best.
So if I could get one of those, that'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, those continue to be the God. Why do I even try and talk? Yes. Where was I? Twitter. I don't do things there, but you can find me there. So that's a cool thing. Gaming Discussion or GTD Podcast, respectively, on SoundCloud and YouTube, or YouTube and SoundCloud is more accurate to say. Aside from the podcast, I mean, it's kind of like empty promises at this point, I guess, but I am still, in the process of writing something about videos. Oh yeah, I am very much in the process of writing something about Dark Souls, specifically talking about its difficulty and how it relates to the recent ongoing events of people complaining about the difficulty in Elden Ring, because people are just idiots, I guess. I don't know. Because people are idiots that buy games because it's popular instead of buying games they want to play.
I say it looks cool.
I don't know. People have been complaining about the difficulty in Elden Ring a lot recently.
Isn't it made by the same people who made Dark Souls?
Yes. It shouldn't be a surprise that it's difficult, but it's reignited this idea that it's reignited the spurn from people that want an easy mode in video games for fucking reasons I don't understand.
If the game's supposed to be challenging, then make it challenging.
Maybe the new Pokemon game will be fun. I have to use the restroom.
Anyways, that's what I have going on. We were just about to leave, whatever. Anyways, yes, that's about it from me. I don't know when that'll come out. It'll just come out whenever I want it to at this point.
Yup.
I'm in the process of trying my best to do other things.
An hour a day.
What?
I said just write an hour a day.
With you.
Works. What?
Go away with you is what I apparently said, even though that's not how words work.
Why?
Anyways. Yes, and that's shameless self-promotion, which is always fun. It's whatever, man. But yes, that was shameless self-promotion. Why is shameless self-promotion so hard for my mouth to fucking say?
I do not know.
Yeah, thank you all so much for watching this episode of the GTD Podcast. I hope to see you back again for the next one. Continues to be uploaded with hopefully no interruptions. Yeah.
Belated goodbyes?
Yeah, yes, belated goodbyes. Give them to me.
All right, give it a second.
Guys.
Goodbye.
I love it.
I have to keep it consistent.
Bye.
There you go. It only
Yours
took
doesn't need to
way
be
too
related.
long. Ridiculous.